was trying to tell the cats to get away from Obama, because Obama's on the loose. And he was trying to go down to get the cats, so I was flashing the light to see if the cats would get scared. And I didn't know that it had a strobe light feature. So when I did it, I was flashing real fast, and then it started doing the strobe light thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. Let me see what else it's got. It's working. Well, you got it high, man. So at least the microphone works. This is right here. Alright, listen to it now. Well, I can keep it going. What's your problem? This thing rounds. That's true. I'm not going to get back forward. Because we were supposed to do something like you said. Listen, man. Look, see how the sound is now. That's. Give me the other microphone.
No, I'm saying give me the other microphone.
Hello?
The other microphone.
Let me just make sure it's not mine, because my phone never hurts. Yeah.
Alright, listen to it now.
Okay.
No.
ومعك مدخل.
It's clear.
سورة الإسراء.
No, it's not better than
Yeah, now it's good. No, this microphone is
Messed up.
No, trust me, it has nothing to do with this, because whenever they're recording these videos for YouTube, they always have the camera close. That camera has to be close, otherwise the image is not.
I need to take notes.
Alright, listen to it, just double check and make sure that it's, because it might be actually messing up between these two things.
Probably a speaker or something.
Nah, I think that
Listen to it, just double check.
I think that microphone's messed up. See,
It might be actually messing up.
see, it's working fine. It's working fine. So that mic's messed up. Alright. Well, at least it was working this time. Before it wasn't even working. So, alright. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Alright, so we finished off chapter number 24. Alright, so chapter 25, Bab Wujub Silat al-Rahm. So this is, again, this is just something that we've already taken over and over, so this is just to show the obligation of keeping ties of kinship. And of course, this is not just dealing with the father and the mother, this is dealing with the family, the close relatives. Alright, so here. Alright, حدثنا قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى حدثنا موسى ابن إسماعيل. Again, we're going to see Musa ibn Ismail a lot in these hadith. حدثنا موسى ابن إسماعيل قال حدثنا ضمضم ابن عمرو الحنفي مجهول. ضمضم ابن عمرو الحنفي مجهول.
ضم or with a dot?
ضمضم. حدثنا قليب ابن منفعة
Don't eat them in here.
مجهول الحال. Check it. He's got the chain in narration right there. قال جدي يا رسول الله من أبر؟ قال أمك وأباك وأختك وأخاك ومولاك الذي يلي ذاك حق واجب ورحم موصولة. Which feet?
ما تمسك فيهم كله.
Alright, so here we have, alright, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he was asked, who do I be right, who do I obey the most? He said, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, وَمَوْلَاكَ الَّذِي يَلِي ذَاكَ. وَمَوْلَاكَ is what?
Your master. Your master.
Yeah, alright, if there's somebody over, yes, if you're, not the master, but if somebody that's, you freed, they freed you. There's the Mawla. Alright, الَّذِي يَلِي ذَاكَ حَقٌ wajib, and all of this is wajib. وَرَحِمٌ مَوْصُولًا. And the ties of kinship remain connected. This hadith is da'if. What did Shaykh al-Albani say?
Da'if.
What did he say? What was the other?
Here it just says, from reading it, Al-Irwa, and then just...
No, Irwa is the book that he did the checking over there. What does it say, Irwa? Why did it say that?
Oh no, I think that's just this hadith. I'm assuming this hadith is also in his book, Al-Irwa.
Yeah.
And there's it says 837 and 2163.
Yeah, the hadith is like, I mean, you got two people that are mashhur. So, I mean, what do you want after that? So, two people in the chain of narration that aren't acceptable. Alright, hadith number 48. حدثنا موسى بن إسماعيل قال حدثنا أبو عوانة
عن عبد الملك بن عمير عن موسى بن طلحة. All of these رجال الثقات. All of them Sahih. I always say this hadith is, if I'm not mistaken, checking in Bukhari and Muslim. Just make it with technology. It says here in 48, it's in Muslim, not with this chain of narration, it's in Muslim, and also in the Bukhari, but not with this exact chain of narration. But it is in the Sahih. Alright, so he said, حدثنا موسى بن إسماعيل قال حدثنا أبو عوانة عن أبي المالك بن عمير عن موسى بن طلحة عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال لما نزلت هذه الآية وأنذر عشيرتك الأقربين قام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فنادى يا بني كعب وبني لؤي أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار يا بني عبد المناف أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار يا بني هاشم أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار يا بني عبد المطلب أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار يا فاطمة بنت محمد أنقذي نفسك من النار إني لا أملك لك من الله شيئا غير أن لكم رحما سأظلها بظلالها. So here we have the hadith in Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, and he said, when this ayah was sent down, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, and we talked about this ashira before, what does it mean? The people under your care. You might not remember what we talked about. We talked about it in the introduction of Rasul Thalatha. Ashira is the tribe, the father's side, the tribe from the father's side. So whatever relatives that you have from the father's side. And that's why he said, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, because the closest relatives to the man are the relatives of the father. He's closer to them than he is. So he's going to be closer to the uncles on his father's side than he is on his mother's side. Because why? When you say tribe, do you mean like blood connection? No, the tribe is a family. Just in English, that's right. The word Ashira, because it has that connection that goes up to the Arabs. So it's the tribe from the father's side. Because they're all family. So let's assume that the mother is from a different tribe. Now the son is going to have his lineage going back to which tribe? His father's. So he's going to be connected to them. And if you look at the American society, before it became completely corrupted, and the father was still in the house, raising the child, And then what happened was the son carries the father's name, so obviously he's going to be connected to the relatives of the father. That's the name that he's carrying. Nowadays, it's the complete opposite in this corrupt country, whereas now you see that the kids are more in tune with the mother's side, which is weakness, because the mother's side obviously, and you see that's not even the nature of things. The nature of things going all the way back has always been the father and the son. There's that connection that the son has, the connection to the father's side, the men on the father's side. So his male uncles from his father's side are always going to be closer to him than his male uncles on his mother's side. But you see just how they flipped everything up on his head. It's corrupted the father. And you still see that in all these countries where the society is still tribal. I mean, most of the times the mother is going to be from the same tribe as the father. But let's just assume that she's not. And no, the family's not going to care about really the mother's side. The mother's side is not going to be like highly regarded. Because again, the tribe is not nothing to do. Alright, so that's what the Ashira is that from the father's side. Al-Aqrabin, the closest of them. So that means like the father, the grandfather, the uncles. These are the closest of the relatives. Qama Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So when this ayat was revealed, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam stood up and he called to the people, Ya Bani Ka'b ibn Lu'ay. Because he's calling what? He's calling those tribes that are connected to his family, right? Ya Bani Ka'b ibn Lu'ay. So he called that tribe. Anqidu anfusakum min an-nar. Protect yourselves and spare yourselves from the fire. Because he's trying to tell them that what? Just because we're connected through lineage and we're connected through family, what? I'm not going to save you. I can't save you. You have to save yourselves. And the only way that you can save yourselves is what? Obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. Accepting the deen. And if they refuse to, they reject the deen and they reject the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down, there's no saving for them. There's no saving for them. That's it. And then after that he said, Ya Bani Abi Manaf, Anqidu anfusakum min an-nar. So he called them. He said, save yourselves from the fire. Ya Bani Hashim. The tribe of Hashim. Anqidu anfusakum min an-nar. Save yourselves from the fire. Ya Bani Abdul Muttalib. Who is Abdul Muttalib? Yeah, but what is his relation? What is the proximity to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? To the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Anqidu anfusakum min an-nar. Save yourselves from the fire. Ya Fatima bint Muhammad. And then he calls on his daughter. Anqidhi nafsaki min an-nar. Save yourself from the fire. فَإِنِّي لَا أَمْلِكُ لَكِ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. Because I don't possess anything with Allah. I don't have any control. I don't have anything that I can do to save you. If you don't save yourself with the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's nothing that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam can do to save you. Alright. And this is a refutation against who? Oh, this is a beautiful refutation. Oh, this is a beautiful refutation against who? Please check this and make sure that they can still hold. Keep it. Because Mujahid's not here. When he's here, but he's not here. They'll just keep your eyes on the chat and make sure that there's some sound issue comes up. Huh? That's loud. Look at the comments and see if other people can complain about the sound. Someone said salam alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Very distorted audio. Confirming the sound. Take somewhere. Just take it somewhere. What do you mean, like, is that a motorcycle now?
Out later, man, because this is it was working just fine, man. We're like, oh, I'm excited, like, yeah, man, it's finally gonna be working. We just got to get into another. Some people have complained about this, even though this is one of the top companies, but I have seen that people complain about that it didn't last too long, so maybe that has something to do with it. I'll try a different company next time, so. What is it, jazz stuff or what?
No, I won't issue.
What's the?
Okay, so
Say the question, let's finish, because I'm gonna have to go back and reread all this, because they probably couldn't hear it. Wait until we finish the hadith, inshallah. So he said, okay, so the Prophet ﷺ stood up in front of the people after that ayat was revealed about, I guess I'll repeat everything now, because in case people didn't hear. وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. What is the ashira?
the tribe of the fathers.
The tribe of the father. And we're not gonna go back into this whole thing about the corrupted American society again, but yeah, okay, so the father should be the closest of relatives, the father's family. So he said, Ya Bani Ka'b ibn Lu'ay. So when this ayat was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, he stood up in front of the people and he started calling on all of the closest members of his family. Alright, you see from his father's side, all the people that are connected to that. Ya Bani Ka'b ibn Lu'ay. أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار. Save yourselves from the fire. يا بني عبد المناف. أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار. Save yourselves from the fire. يا بني هاشم. أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار. Save yourselves from the fire. يا بني عبد المطلب. أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار. And save yourselves from the fire also. يا فاطمة بنت محمد. أنقذي نفسك من النار. And then to his daughter Fatima رضي الله عنها, he says, save yourself from the fire. فإني لا أملك لك من الله شيئا. Because I don't have any power or any control to save you. The only thing that's going to save you is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remaining in the obedience and accepting the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down. غَيْرَ أَنَّ لَكُمْ رَحِمًا سَأَبُلَّهَا بِبِلَادِهَا. Now he's saying that I don't have any means of protecting you if you cannot. The only protection that you have is the protection of what? At-taqwa. That's your protection. And if you refuse that protection, then there's nothing that I can do for you. But if you refuse to accept the guidance, then the only thing that we have between each other is what? Is this connection of kinship that I will continue to connect. And that's why he says, Abullaha bi bilaliha. Abullaha, and you say like balla shay, it means like tarusha alayhi al-ma' hatta yibrad. And because of harara, like it's very, very hot. So you put water on it, like you spray water on it to cool it down. So he's talking about the hararat al-ma'asiyah, the sin of cutting off the ties of kinship, and he's making a comparison between the heat and the heat of sin. And he says, "Sa'abulluha bi balaliha," that I will cool this sin down by remaining and continuing to keep these connections, so that sin doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So he's just comparing it to the heat of sin. Alright, he's saying that I will cool the sin down, like it would by Sa'abullaha bi balaliha, and I'll spray it to cool it down. So what? By connecting all the ties of kinship, I will not allow the sin to happen, to take place. Alright, it won't heat up, because I'm going to keep it cool by remaining with the kinship, remaining with these ties of kinship. Alright.
When the Prophet ﷺ, he said in this hadith we just took, Ya Bani Abdul Muttalib, who is intended by Bani Abdul Muttalib?
All of the family.
Okay.
All of the people that are connected to that tribe. Because all of these are from his family. Because like we said, the Ashira, it goes back to the family of the father. Family of the father. And what do we talk about? Alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi. So we talked about the corruption of the society, and that now the children, they no longer have that connection to the family of the father. Now their connection is to the family of the mother. And that's why you start to see the problems that you see in the society. Because, you see like the mother has brothers, right? And you see how the difference is. Because when you mix with your mother's family, you see, especially like in America, right? You have different names. It's like almost like you're from two different families. You're only connected through this female relative. But when you're on your father's side, what? Everybody's got the same name, so you feel like, you don't feel like an outsider so much. So it's I don't know, man. It's just something that I experienced. Like whenever I was with my father's relatives, it was a lot stronger and we had a stronger connection than my mother's relatives. I hated my mother's relatives. I hated being around them, because I always felt like, like that. Like these my mother's, man. I don't want to be around my mother, you know. Not my mother, but I'm not her relatives, you know. The only one that I respected was my grandfather from her side, but everybody else I could care less for. They could die tomorrow, and I'd be like, well, so what? You know, but my father's side is different. You have that connection, and that connection remains. You know, and connection is a lot stronger connection. It's supposed to be, if society is not corrupted, which it has.
So was your mom's side, was they Muslim?
None of my family's Muslim.
Except for him and Asad.
No, I'm talking about my family. These are my children. These are my companions. These are my, you know what I'm saying?
You're
My tribe.
Your shepherd. I don't know your shepherd. Your herd.
Yes, these are my
Shepherd.
tribe. Bani Sutton. All right. What was your question now?
Oh, the first one. Well, the answer is obvious. Was so if anyone has any wonders about this. So the term of muttafaqun alayh. Let's say there's a hadith. The wording is the same in Bukhari and Muslim, but they're just two different chains of narration. Is that still considered muttafaqun alayh, even though it's the same saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but just two different
Is it the
chains?
same Sahabi?
No.
Then it's not the same hadith.
I mean, well, the same.
It's like you had the hadith of Jibril in Bukhari, Sahabi Hurairah, in Sahih Muslim, on Umar bin Khattab. So when you say on Umar and you give the hadith of the Jibril, you say Rawahu Muslim. You don't say Muttafaqun alayh. Because it's two different hadiths, it's two different Sahaba, even though it's the same event. And pretty much, not the same wording, but you know, as far as like Islam, Iman, wa Ihsan, it's the same pretty much. And then, you know, but other than that, no, it's two different hadiths. So you say like, you know, Rawahu Muslim, you're not going to say Muttafaqun alayh. Yeah. Muslim, you have another question?
No, I had two more, but you already answered it.
Any issues with the sound now? Is everything okay?
تصبر
Huh?
تصبر
What?
تحتاج تصبر وسيدة أنت تدخل أي شيء بيجي ل3 ثواني حتى يروح عندهم.
I mean, they're not complaining, what I'm saying. So nobody's complaining now. Because they were complaining about the sound from the beginning, right?
في الأذان اللي هو حب الله يعني إنك تقدم بصوت عالي من تقدم بصوت جميل.
المفضل both. You can do them both. Because if you have a beautiful voice and you're calling the Adhan and nobody can hear it, it's useless, isn't it? Because you're calling the people to prayer. So it's better to have a very, very strong, loud voice than a low, beautiful voice. But if you could combine between the two, that's the best. But if we had to choose between which one, you know, and we take the loud voice, you know, but the main important thing is that, you know, that the person has the correct pronunciation and the way that he says it. Like, you know, you can't be like calling the Adhan talking about Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. You know, you can't be doing that. So you have to have the correct pronunciation along those lines. So you can't let Jibby bin Bob, whatever, you know, calling the Adhan or something.
Or like saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the pronunciation has to be correct. So along those lines. I mean, even like just saying Muhammad, most, you know, you see the majority of the people in America, Muhammad. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. That's not. If the person that says that, he shouldn't be calling the Adhan. Can't call the Adhan. It's not permissible for him to call the Adhan because he's not saying it because Muhammad is a whole, you know, Muhammad. You know, so.
One question. We're talking about this. Let's say if we're praying behind someone, and you know the hat, and when you say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, but he can't pronounce. He says Ar-Rahman. Is it permissible to pray behind him?
I mean, it depends on what is he doing.
He's striving to say Ar-Rahman, but the best of his ability is saying Ar-Rahman.
That's not that bad. I mean, if he's like a Rahman, Rahim, That's a whole nother issue. Yeah. I mean, because he shouldn't be allowed to lead the salat because again, the pronunciation. Because if the pronunciation it changes and it's not from like, so like they'll make exceptions of letters that are similar. Like for example, like the Pakistanis, they have a hard problem with like very difficult issue. Wala balin. So and because of the bal and za and ba, because of their close makhraj. So a lot of the ulama before, they say if he said wala zalin like this, he does wazalin. He can't get the harf out that it's still permissible to pray behind him, that the salat is still accepted. Because one, it doesn't change the meaning. But that was Ibn Jawzi, I believe, spoke about that issue. But I'm not with him. I'm like, nah, man, if he can't do that right, then he shouldn't be leading the salat. That's what is that, There's plenty of people that can pronounce it properly,
Okay. The question goes as, do you think it's because one didn't speak Arabic?
Don't.
I don't know what this is. So they don't pronounce it as one who do? I'm reading how it is.
Again, I was too busy.
How they corrected it.
I was laughing at Mujahid. I was not laughing at the question. Because you guys can't see Mujahid, so I don't want people to think that I was laughing. I didn't even hear the question because I was too busy laughing at Mujahid.
Do you think it's...
Oh, by the way, in the comment section, you are now considered Mujahid 2.0. Just to let you know.
أنا غيرته.
Because you chimed into the comments yesterday, and then Mujahid was giving you salams. He said, hey, Uncle, salam alaikum, Uncle Mujahid. And then the people were like, oh my God, now there's 2 Mujahids or 3 Mujahids. So now, you are now Mujahid 2.0.
أنا غيرته.
Huh?
هو 1-0.
No, 2.0 is
أنا قصدي أنا
the
غيرته.
excellent update. The updated excellent one, yes. What's the question again?
Do you think it's because one did not speak Arabic, so they don't pronounce it as one who do?
I mean, it's not an issue about whether or not they speak Arabic or not, because I've seen brothers that don't speak Arabic, but they recite like Hosari. I'm serious, like he goes and like recites the Quran, like,
It's effort and training.
yeah, he just sits back and he listens to it and listens to it, because, people that really want to do it correctly, come on, man, nowadays, go download the Adhan from any place in the world. You can download the Adhan from Turkey, download the Adhan from Haram, download the Adhan from Yemen, download the Adhan from anywhere, and just keep practicing it. It's very easy nowadays. I mean, there's like really no excuse. Back in the old days when we were coming up and all we had was the cassette tapes and everything, we might have had a, type of, excuse.
Bring a couple.
Yeah, you had to find some tape with the Adhan on it and keep practicing, So,
There's another question.
No.
It goes as, if you adopt a child in Islam, is that child considered fully yours?
No.
Like in terms of
No.
inheritance?
Yeah.
Like in terms of inheritance and
I
family?
mean, I don't know of any adoption issues in Islam because, again, this goes back to the corruption of the American society. If a child became, all right, because we were talking about this yesterday, right? So let's go ahead and just deal with this, because this was the question from the sister yesterday. It was about the orphan issue and when a child becomes an orphan, because the whole American, thanks to like Orphan Annie and all that, the concept of being an orphan in America, in the West, is that your parents don't want you, so they give you up for adoption, so you're an orphan. That's not what an orphan is, because that wasn't the case. The Prophet ﷺ, his father died, his mother was alive. The father dies when the kid's still at the age, before the age of puberty, the son or the daughter or whoever, because the main source of support is dead. So when his father died, he became an orphan, even though his mother was still alive. So the mother, because the mother is not the main support. And you see that mothers, we have seen, wallahi, if the people were to look into a case study of America, they will see the failure of women raising children on their own. It's clear as day. The failure is wadah. Like, no doubt. And we have seen it. We have not just seen it, we've seen it from the white community, the black community, the Mexican community, Asian community, every single community, even the Arab community with the divorce and everything, that the women raising children on their own is a complete failure. The women, the girls go out and become loosey-goosey, you know, and she's out there and doing all types of fawahish. The boys become like their sisters, you know, and they start to take on this type. And then when they start to you know, because they gotta feel like they gotta prove their manhood all the time. So then they become violent and go out to the streets and commit all these crimes just to show like what? Because he's raised like a little girl. Yeah, because you see the old gangsters that were raised by fathers back in the days, they weren't loud and boisterous, and these dudes are like gay. You know, the old gangsters were quiet. You ran your mouth to him, he just said, okay, that's how you feel. Next thing you know, your whole family's dead. You know, those are the gangsters of the past that were raised by fathers. You know, maybe the father was abusive or whatever, but he had a father in the home. Those gangsters are not loud. They were not, you know. So you see what goes on. We see the failure. The failure is as clear as day. You know, it's like the sun on a cloudless day at noontime. That's how clear it is, the failure. So the father is the support. The father is what was the connection. So that father dies, the person becomes what? An orphan. Until that child reaches the age of being able to support himself. So once he's able to go, or she is able to go get a job and start supporting himself, then he's not an orphan anymore. But he's an orphan up until that age of being, you know, where he's a child. And now he doesn't have his father anymore. So he's considered an orphan. And then now when this happened back in the days, and this is even in America back in the 1700s, 1800s, who took care of the child when the father died?
Me.
You.
Yeah, somebody, the family, you know, the rest of the family, maybe the uncle, maybe whoever that closest, but the family chipped in and they started looking out and they said, no, y'all come stay with us. And of course the kid's gonna get worked like a slave, you know, because you're like, you ain't one of us, but so we're gonna put you to work, you're gonna go cut extra firewood, you're gonna do, you know, but he has a family, you know what I'm saying? He's not tossed off in an orphanage. And then, you know, he's going to have to fight every single day because his cousins and everybody are probably not going to treat him right, you know, because they don't want to share toys, whatever. But he had family, you know, and that's how it's always been. That's how it is in Yemen. That's how it is in, you know, all you see throughout the Arab countries. You know, that's how it is. There's no such thing as there are orphanages. But the orphanages that you see overseas are because of what? They're not because the child was,
There's a war.
No.
You what?
It's just for the children that were born out of wedlock. Like the prostitute got pregnant, she just tossed the child off and she gave it to the orphanage. That's the only time. Or like maybe everybody in the family got killed. You know, something like that where like, you know, nobody could take care of the child. Situations like that. That's the only time that the orphanages, I think I only saw one orphanage in Yemen. One. So the family takes care of everybody, you know, so.
There's another question. Says,
But I was saying, so I don't know this concept of like adoption, but the thing is that child is not your child. So then you got an issue now when that child comes up. That child has not been breastfed by your wife, unless, now, if you adopted the child, your wife had just had a child, and maybe you just adopted the child because of what? You felt sorry for the child. Maybe the mother has a close friend and she's on drugs and she had the child, she couldn't take care of the child, so then you adopted the child. The woman at the same time, she just had a child, so she's breastfeeding and she breastfeeds the child. And khalas, I mean, it becomes a child through breastfeeding, you know. And then in that case, it becomes like any of the children, you know. But other than that, then no. I mean, the child is not a part of that family. So
is that even for the husband too?
yeah, because it's the mother. Yeah, so I mean, at that point, then yeah, then when he comes of age, he doesn't have to, like the girls don't have to hide from him and cover up and all that, because he's considered their brother, you know.
There's another question here. It says, the question, this is a new question, but the question was, is a child of the bed an orphan? The issue wasn't once they reach puberty.
Oh, my mom said that.
Well, thanks for just letting out. I know who said the child of the bed question. I know. Repeat the question again.
The question was, is a child of the bed an orphan? The issue wasn't.
No, it's not an orphan.
No.
It's just
See right here.
what they used to. I mean, obviously you can't use these terminologies nowadays, but like in Arabic they just call it walad zina. In America they used to just call it illegitimate child. That's it. Well, actually, the terminology that they used to call it in original English is much harsher, which is what?
Bastard.
A bastard child, yeah. But they stopped doing that because obviously it increased. And if you started calling this is a bastard child, and you just be running around calling everybody bastard all day long, So it's like in America, but it's not an orphan. He's not an orphan. He's just a child,
This is another question. Does the wet nurse become kin if she only fed the child once?
No. It has to be 5 times, and it has to be like mushka, not like just the baby just drinks a little bit. Like the baby has to drink until what? It releases, like it's full,
And there's a question that had related to this. So if a child becomes like the son of a woman who breastfed him, obviously 5 times until he gets full, does he have to do birrul walidain, or is that only for the blood mother?
I mean, the blood mother is going to be first, and then the second one mother will be second.
So would that mother, would the...
It depends on the connection, because sometimes you got to understand, the mother might not have milk. So the mother goes and gets another woman to breastfeed the child, and the mother might not even really have a connection with that woman, which is dangerous, but this happens sometimes in different countries. Because now what happens is if you do this, and what if she's breastfeeding another girl that you also don't know about, and then they end up getting married later on, and you don't know, because you're not keeping track of who she's breastfeeding. But some people do this, they do this overseas, where it's just like if the mother doesn't have the milk, then she finds somebody that does, and even if they don't have a connection with that person, and then that, just to keep the child breastfeeding. So the child doesn't have to be raised up on, doesn't have to become like a Semitic child. Yeah, that takes you back to the 90s, don't it? Semitic child driving me wild or something, right? Is that what it said?
I never heard
It's
that.
because they act stupid, because their brain probably didn't develop fully because of not the breastfeeding. So then they're all running around and acting crazy.
And that's most of us. Oh, especially, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You're the poster boy.
Yeah, like
Be like the
Crush
rest of
next
Semitic cereal.
My last sermon.
We'll leave him alone after we get finished with him.
Kool-Aid.
Team Similac.
I have a
Protein Similac shake and everything, man.
I have a question about it's about the wali. About the wali.
Coffee or something.
If he drank coffee, I think he would probably have a heart attack.
I get coffee.
He drank 1 cup of coffee, all you're gonna see is a hole in the wall. That's it.
I get coffee.
The wall won't even be there.
I get coffee.
What's the question?
It's about the wali. Let's just say if a woman she does zina, and then she has a female baby out of that female child, would the father of the mother be the wali of that child?
The father of the mother.
Yes.
Whatever the wali of the child is gonna have to come from the mother's side. It has to come from the mother's side because there's no father.
You have a question.
So the grandfather would be her wali,
The
right?
grandfather, the uncle, whoever. It has to be one of the males from from the mother's side, because the father is legitimate, so he can't act as the wali. Huh?
Then there's another one that says, is it
Hold
a...
on, I'm saying you had a question.
So, say like the grandfather, he's marrying them off, and then so the wife, the girl, the woman, she tried to ask the grandfather because she married. The grandfather said no because he doesn't like the color he is. Does he still get to marry that woman?
The girl wants to marry a guy, and the grandfather's the wali.
That's your sister's question.
He's repeating the question.
Yeah, he's that's probably why he's here. All right. The grandfather's the wali of the girl, but he doesn't agree with the marriage because of the race of the person. So then tell her to find another husband.
Oh, so it's not.
If it's gonna cause problems like that, it's better to leave. You know, because the thing is, you gotta keep the family connection. The family connections are more important to maintain than the connections of some dude from outside of the family. Just because you like them or whatever, it doesn't matter. Those family connections are more important. You know, because we're raised up in America, we're raised to rebel against the family, rebel and do the, but that's not the way we should do things. You know, so you have to put your desires to the side and maintain those connections, because now if you destroy the connections with your family, you know, let's just say that the grandfather, what does it do? Like, whatever the race of the guy is, right? And the grandfather doesn't like it, right? So then what happens now, you start to have a rift with them. Most of these marriages in America, how long do they last?
2 years.
So, well, okay, let's give it 2 years. 2 years, but now he leaves, he's gone, the marriage is over. But you still can't, you know, that relationship that you have with your grandfather now is destroyed. You know, your family's going to be the ones that are going to be there, regardless. When this person gets up and goes, you know, that's why you see a lot of guys, they get there, get all out, bent out of shape because what? They got a girl, the family doesn't agree with the marriage of the girl, so now you have a choice. Listen to your family, keep those relationships, or what? Go get married to the girl and cut those relationships and cause those problems. The girl, she might be gone in 6 months, a year, 2 years, done. You're not even talking to her no more. But now you still got all this irreparable damage that you've done with your family. Your family is the most important thing. Keeping those ties of kinship, that's the most important thing. You know, as people come and go, all these, you know, everybody else that comes and goes, but that has to remain.
There's another question that stems off of this. Would a woman does zina and she has a child off of that, whether male or female child. That child, obviously, he has to keep ties of kinship with his mother. But does he have to do it with his uncle, and let's say he has another sibling who's also born from zina? Does he have to keep ties of kinship with them, or only the mother?
Whoever the close relatives are. The mother, the family. I mean, you gotta understand, you gotta look at the situation. If the situation is in America, it's different than the situation in, let's say, Yemen. If this were to happen in Yemen, he won't be able to keep the ties of kinship because the family's going to be like, man, we don't know who you are. They're going to disown him. They're going to disown her, the boy, everything. So the only thing that he's going to have is his mother. His mother might just give him up to which is generally what happens, she's going to give him up to the orphanage to get rid of him because it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's like she doesn't want to carry that around for the rest of her life.
Would that be considered dhulm? Would that be considered dhulm?
It's no on the part of the mother. Because she went and undertook that. She couldn't control her desires. She couldn't wait till she got married. And she went off and did what she did. And now she put this child in the mix. And the child, what did the child do? The child didn't ask for this. But it's because now you can't control your desires. Now you bring a child into a world that you know is not going to have mercy on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is why the ulama, they used to always warn, even in the past, against mixed marriages. You know, for example, like we talked about yesterday, Yemeni marrying a Somali. And it's not because they say it's not permissible, because they said, look what you're going to do to your children. Look what they're going to have to go through in society. Because society, what? They're not going to accept them. If you're raising your child up in Yemen, and the child's half Yemeni, half Somali, that child is going to go through hell every single day of his life. Think about the child, you know what I'm saying? So here you gotta look at the situation. Here in America, a lot of those situations, they don't really exist so much, but they do exist in some families. And if you know that that's going to exist, leave it, man. It's not, you know. But the thing is, people, they're too selfish. They're focusing on, like, what? My desires right now. I'm in the here and now. I want her now. And he's not thinking about, okay, now she gets pregnant. Now we got a child born out of wedlock. Now we got a child that's not going to be accepted from by society. Oh, now we're going to sit here and go like, well, how do we solve this? Actually, you should have thought about that when your parents were still up. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, once the parents drop, then it's too late to start making those decisions now, ain't it? You know, so, you know, you already made the wrong decision once that happened. So, I don't know.
There's a question from one of the viewers. Is it a punishment if you don't breastfeed your baby and give formula?
It's not a punishment, but it's kind of like if the woman has the ability to breastfeed, why would she not breastfeed? You know, because a lot of these women, they stop breastfeeding because why? They listen to these kuffar. And they're afraid because they think, oh, if I breastfeed, you know, that you know what they say, right? The concern of the women with the breastfeeding is that they're going to start becoming like droopy D and start sagging a bit. So then they don't want to breastfeed because they think that this is, actually, come on, man. You destroy your child because you know what I'm saying? That stuff's going to happen regardless because you're trying to get another extra 10 years with firmness. You know, come on, man. Let's do some push-ups. Droopy D, man. The woman, like, you know,
I know easy.
Sacrifice.
Some of them are just lazy too. It's easier to go.
I need clarification.
I mean, you get some women who are just like malnutrition. They can't breastfeed. Those women, if they can find another woman to breastfeed for her, but I mean, that breast milk, that's what Allah created for that child. So Allah created that. Allah did not create Similac and put that in the breast of the mother and say, give that to the child. That's created that, you know.
That's why they give all the animals the mother's milk.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and prescribed it for that period of 2 years, you know.
And if that
Howlane, Camulane. So, I mean.
If the animal can't feed her little ones, they go get the other cow's milk.
Yeah. They don't go feed cows Similac. Have you ever seen that? Come here, Mr. Goat. Drink some Similac.
It's always the original milk.
You're going to have to explain the whole issue of the breastfeeding to our innocent friend.
I picked up. What about those marriages where they don't agree and they marry and last and the family come around?
You're talking about an exceptions. We don't make decisions in our lives based on exceptions. We make decisions in our lives based on what? Yeah, because you see a guy walk in the store with a gun. Well, maybe he's going in there to protect the clerk. You know, no, I mean, come on. Maybe that's an exception, but maybe I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm going to go with the rule is he just walked in the store with a gun to rob homeboy, and maybe we're going to see that on the news tonight. Right. You know, you think I'm going to sit around and say, well, he's just a good, upstanding citizen going inside to stand guard at the 7-Eleven. No. we don't make rules in our lives based on exceptions. And how would you know that until you've done it? You know, so...
this is I'm not going to say the last question. But, okay, but who thinking like that if they living in the Jahiliyyah? What is the solution now?
There is no Jahiliyyah. Jahiliyyah is finished. As far as a person living with their own personal Jahiliyyah and their own ignorance. But there's no Jahiliyyah. Islam is here. The truth is here. People can understand the truth, but they just don't want to. So, but what was the question though?
That was the question.
If there's what?
But who thinking like that if they living in the Jahiliyyah? What is the solution now?
Well, we're thinking like what though?
So she said they were thinking like that back then, but what's the solution for them now that they made it to this point?
Make Tawbah.
They did it already, now they're here.
Make Tawbah. I mean, that's the only thing you can do. I mean, if you talking about the illegitimate child thing,
I'm assuming.
I mean, it's over. Khalas, it's the mother's child. She's gonna raise it. If the guy wants to help out, if the guy is 100% sure that that's his child and she wasn't, messing around with no other dude, and he wants to support the child and he wants to do that, then that's his business. It's all khayr, that's a good man, because the majority of fools today will not do that. Will not do that. And be like, well, hey man, that's your fault, and you heard what the Imam said, I don't have to support nothing,
These for next time.
But I mean, the main thing is that the woman herself needs to control herself too, man.
Keep taking questions. We haven't even got to the hadith.
Because the majority of the men, look, man.
Two-way street.
Huh?
Two-way street.
Yeah, she's got to protect herself because, look, man, do the women want us to tell them our secret? We don't like things that come easy. We like to work for stuff. Like the stuff, like the girl that we really want is the one that doesn't want us in the beginning, and we gotta work to come on, man, would you just look at me? That girl that just take me, man. You take her, but I'm talking about back in the days. I'm saying, I'm talking about now. But I'm just saying, and then not call her 2 days from now. You delete her from the phone and block her and everything after a week because you're like, gosh, you're done with her. It just came too easy. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that type of stuff. You want the thing that you got, the challenge, the thing that you got to work for.
The thrill of the chase.
Yeah. That's what a man wants with us, But so these women, I mean, they're foolish if they think that, that she just gives herself up like that he's gonna want to stick around and be this good husband. No, because he knows if you just gave this up to me like that easily, who else have you done this for? Who else will you do this for in the future? So it's like, come on, man. It's like, I'll never trust a woman like that. But this is the thing, women, so it's just like you said, it's a two-way street. So each person's making a mistake. Each person have to make tawbah.
There's another question. Oh, wow. Sheikh, you mentioned...
No, Sheikh, no question. Khalas, next.
Okay.
So, Sheikh, you don't get your question answered. Don't get your question asked.
What would you... obviously, I skipped that question because you said no.
Yeah, you ready for the khutbah?
I'm getting ready.
Okay, all right.
What would you say about brothers kicking another brother out of the masjid because he doesn't follow their manhaj?
The ulama have already spoken about that. I mean, look, the only time that you can kick a person out of the masjid if that person is causing fitna. Just because he doesn't agree with your sheikh is not a reason that you kick him out of the masjid. He's not there to cause fitna, he's not there to do anything, he's just praying and leaving. What are they going to kick him out to? The person's causing problems, like, disrupting the salat, disrupting the duru's, and disrupting things like that, yeah, you keep him out. Keep him out of the masjid because he's, anything that disrupts the ibadah and what goes on in the masjid and disrupts the people's ibadah, then yeah. But these people these ashab al-khulub, these people that go to these extremes in the religion, anybody that doesn't agree with them, no, you can't come in my masjid, you can't come in my masjid. No, it's not your masjid, first off. It's in the Masjid al-Allah. Why in the Masjid al-Allah? I have to keep masjid. Yeah.
وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ.
Yeah, that's why I was corrected. Why in the Masjid al-Allah? All right.
I thought you just said in that, like as
I was saying it as a khabar, then I was just like, as an information, then I mentioned the ayah, because I don't want the people to think that I was quoting the ayah. And then, the next thing you know, everybody's correcting me. But, so the point is that all the masajid are waqf. And we talked about this before. That, once you have a person come and call them the adhan in the masjid, then the masjid does not belong to anybody. It belongs to the Muslims. All right, it's not the property of anybody. But there are people that are trustees over the masjid to make sure that people don't come in and cause chaos, and this type of thing. Yeah, if you got a dude who's coming in on drugs, and he's being loud, and he's being obnoxious, and he's causing problems, kick him out the masjid. I was up here giving a khutbah one time, with jab, taking a dude out the masjid during the khutbah. It happens, all right? And I'm sitting there like, quoting the hadith, and I'm looking over here watching the guy get taken out the masjid. Because everybody's called, so it happens. Mujahid 2.0.
I know, I was there, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's somebody's going to be causing problems like that, then that's a whole different thing. But just because, he doesn't agree with what your sheikh says about a certain person and all this, then no. I mean, if he just came to pray, let him pray and let him leave. You're not like telling him, like, for example, here, we had just a week ago, 2 weeks ago,
About what?
the Tablighis here.
Oh, yeah, too.
Okay, you can come here, because obviously they came up to me. They didn't say we're Tablighis. What did they say? Abdul Malik, remember? They said we're travelers. So if they come up to me and say we're travelers, you got to give them the rights for 3 days, right? So I said, okay, no issues. But I said, you can't, and then I talked to Robert, and I said, as long as they don't get up and they don't talk. But they have to sit in the classes, and they sat in the classes. So every single day that we did the classes here, a lot of the Tablighis are sitting here chilling in the class, going through Bukhari, you know what I'm saying? So, and things like that. We're not going to kick them out the masjid. But we're not going to let them talk either. We're not going to let them, take their circus on the road and set up tents up in the masjid and start, doing their thing here. No. So they had the kitchen. They could cook the curry.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah, the cats were eating curry for like 3 days straight, man. He slapped them because he came in and see that every single day was like rice and curry all over the ground for 3 days, man. The cats were just like, started shaking their heads a little bit,
Someone said, no, Abu Saif said Somalis and Yemenis having mixed kids in Yemen are bad because society...
I didn't say it's bad. I said that they're gonna go through trouble.
Because society won't accept them. But what does that have to do with ruling on it?
It's not. It's permissible. But the point is why would you put your kids in that situation? You can't protect them. You know what I'm saying? So, and even if you go and you see like where these kids, like where the families of these kids live, they all have a neighborhood where they all live together. There's nobody wants them even living around them. It's fun. Yeah. If you go to Khafji when you go to Sana'a and tell them, where is Khafji? Go there and go walk around. It's like you're outside of Sana'a. It's like you're out in the village somewhere, Go to Khafji. If it's still the same as it was when I was there, it's behind Shumela. You have Shumela, Souq Shumela, you got Shara Taz, and behind that, if you go all the way down, you got Khafji. You go to those neighborhoods behind there, you'll see a lot of these families. And they're mostly poor because why? They're not going to get good jobs. They're not going to have all the chances because they're not, even if the father's a tribal member. Come on, man. It's just like, they're not, it's just the way the people are. They're going to look at them and say, no, you're from what tribe? You're from who? My wife had to go through that all the time. Their mother. So I mean, it's subhanAllah. I mean, even in Saudi, just being Yemeni, you have to go through that. Because the women, like the Saudi woman will see me and the kids and say, oh, wow, Riki. So she starts talking to my wife. I said, oh, so where are you from? I'm from Yemen. And you start to see her, like straight up.
You're from Yemen
she starts like going off to the side. But I mean, it's just reality out here. It's just, you got to think about the kids and what the kids are going to have to go through. Like here in America, it's not the same overseas. People who live their lives in this whatever, this is not reality out here. This is a joke. Go to Malaysia. Go to.
It's euphoria.
You see it somewhat over here too, though, because if there's a mixed child, some families will treat that mixed child different over here. Maybe not to the extent as over there, but you see it. Maybe get the jokes and. It always feels different. You know what I'm saying? It happens to me.
Well, you see the mixed children here. They have a identity crisis, and they go through this all the time. Because a lot of the cases, the mother's white, the father's black. The mother's raising the child, but he doesn't look like the mother. But now he can't associate with the person he does look like because they separated. He's not in the house anymore. So then he goes to school. And then when you find these kids, they're the ones that want to act out. They want the most attention. They're trying to, come on, man, But you don't see that for kids that, that they're very clear. Like he and him, they don't have an identity crisis. He's clearly white. He's clearly Mexican. He's clearly black. But he's like, where'd I go? I look like this. but I'm not this, and this is who's raising me, but I know I'm not this because the teacher, everybody keeps calling me, this, and I'm not, it's just, they're confused. So if you know that the society is going to do that to the child, I'm thinking about what my child has to go through. When my children are mixed. Well, you look at them, it'll be kind of hard to tell. Can you tell what they're mixed with? No, you can't.
Definitely
Yeah.
not Somali. Well, maybe a little bit.
I mean, he's built like a Somali. Look at him.
Not him though.
No, he took the Yemeni portion, he took the Somali portion, and he took the Somali hair with the North Carolinian everything else, bone structure and everything. But yeah, so no, man, it's just you got to think about the child and the society that you live in. And the society is accepting of that, that's fine. But Allah Musta'an. Yeah. Any other questions?
Today is more Q&A.
Yeah, they're busy today. Read Hadith. At least get one in. Alright, where did we stop at? What number? Yeah, Bani Bayad, alright. No, we finished on the Hadith of Burera. Alright, so we're on 1004 in my book. We finished all this. So we're here. Alright, so all of these are connected. 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, and 1008. So we must-
وعن الضحاكي.
Huh?
Does yours say وعن الضحاكي?
وعن الضحاك here. وعن الضحاك ابن فيروز الديلمي عن أبيه رضي الله عنه قال قلت يا رسول الله إني أسلمت وتحتي أختان فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم طلق أيتهما شئت. رواه أحمد والأربع إلى النسائي وصححه ابن حبان ودارقطني والبيهقي وعله البخاري. So the illah, all right, first let me read the hadith before I go into that. All right, so here the Prophet, they say, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and the guy came to the Prophet and he said, إني أسلمت وتحتي أختان. So he had been married before Islam to two sisters. Now, is marrying two sisters permissible or no?
Haram.
No.
Huh?
Haram.
That's the dalil.
Surah Nisa.
Only if you didn't know.
وأن تجمع بين الأختين إلا ما قد صدق.
Marrying two sisters at the same time.
Yeah, so except for something that's gone before, and what does that mean? It doesn't mean that you can keep the two sisters. It means that the sin itself is forgiven if it happened before you knew. But he has to get rid of one of them. He has to divorce one. He can't have two sisters. So he came to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, I entered into Islam. You see here, what did he say? Inni aslamtu. All right. He did not say, O Messenger of Allah, ana raja'tu ila Islam. I reverted back to Islam. No, he said, Inni aslamtu. I entered into Islam. So this, all right, you see how the people spoke. So all this, I'm a revert stuff is not, because again, this whole revert thing, what do we say about this? The person is born on the fitrah. The Prophet ﷺ said you're born on the fitrah. He did not say that you're born as a Muslim. He said that you're born on the fitrah, which means that you are more inclined to accept Islam because of your fitrah, that you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your creator, and you have no issues with this. But if you remain on the fitrah, that you'll be more accepting of Islam. But then the parents, they end up coming in and changing the religion of the child. فَيَحَوِّدَانِهِ أَيُّنَصِّرَانِهِ أَيُّمَجِّسَانِهِ. All right, so he takes the religion of the parents, but he said, كُلَّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدْ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ. He did not say, كُلَّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدْ عَلى what? Muslim, Islam, على Islam. All right, so he's on the fitrah, and because he's on that natural disposition that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created him, if he's left on that fitrah and he hears about Islam, it will connect with that fitrah that remain with him. But that's he goes to school, he's got friends, so that fitrah is going to become corrupt as long as he's around kuffar, period. So, but anyway, so he said, Inni aslamtu wa tahti ukhtan, and I have two sisters that I'm married to. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Tallaq ayyatahuma shit. Divorce either one of the two that you wish. This hadith, let me see. Yeah, I know, but it said Allah al-Bukhari. The Allah al-Bukhari, it comes from Tarikh al-Kabir. And the Tarikh al-Kabir, it comes from the issue of al-Dhahak narrating from Fayruz Ad-Dailami. Let me see where I wrote this at. 1004, right?
Mine is 1007.
Huh? Yeah, I mean,
1005.
No, his is different than mine.
well, he didn't mention the whole chain of narration here. So the person that's narrating from Dhahak is a person named Abu Wahab al-Jayshani. Abu Wahab al-Jayshani. And he is da'if. He's a majhul. So قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله في التاريخ الكبير الضحاك ابن فيروز الديلمي عن أبيه روى عنه أبو وهب الجيشاني لا يعرف سماع بعضهم من بعض. So Dhahak ibn Fayruz al-Dailami, narrating from his father Fayruz, which is narrated by Abu Wahab al-Jayshani, he said that, it's not known for them to take hadith and hear hadith from each other. So it's the jahala here is not the hala of the person, but the jahala of what?
Unknown.
Yeah, unknown, that they're not known to even take hadith from each other. They're not known to narrate hadith from each other. So because of that, they said the hadith is da'if. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you could check it. But if I'm not mistaken, Shaykh al-Albani actually makes the hadith sahih. Allahu A'lam. Double check it, inshallah. And you don't have the tahqiq of Shaykh al-Albani now, so you can't go and just double check it.
Does he even have one?
Nah, I don't think so. Alright, so that's one issue. Now, alright, but the issue itself in Islam is factual. Alright? And تجمع بين الأختين إلا ما قد سلف. That it's not permissible to marry two sisters إلا ما قد سلف. So anything that happened before, you're forgiven. But anything that happens now, that after this knowledge has come to you, you're going to carry the sin for it. But you have to get rid of one of those two women. That's one issue. So that issue is clear. The second issue is that what? He was married to two sisters before his Islam. And then he became Muslim. Did the Prophet ﷺ make him renew his contract? No. So then does that mean that the contract that the person has, if it's a legit contract in Jahiliyyah, or before the person's Islam, let's say that he's a Christian, and he has a contract as a Christian with a woman, and then he becomes Muslim and she becomes Muslimah, then does that contract still bind? Is it still binding even when they become Muslim?
Yes.
Yes, so
It's not Islam.
No, I'm talking about based on the conditions of their religion. They got married based on the conditions of their religion, not on the conditions of Islam. So is the marriage still binding? Yes.
What if the man?
Because they're mushrikun. They're polytheists. They got married based on the marriages of polytheism. But their marriage is still binding. So the Christians, they still go to the church. The father's giving the girl away,
So let's just say he promised her like a barrel of alcohol or something. Do we still give her the whiskey or the...
No, but that's done. He's already married to her. So they're married. But then they become Muslim. So the marriage is still the marriage. The marriage is still intact. Like the marriage contract, whatever, if they had conditions of the marriage, we talked about these different conditions, whatever is, agrees with Islam, then he has to continue to fulfill those conditions. So if he made a condition of like, for example, if you marry me, you have to teach me Chinese or something like that. Now, because obviously they're kuffar, right? So, and now he's married to her, now they become Muslim. And if, she still wants him to fulfill that contract condition, what? Hey, I'm still waiting for that Chinese, So maybe she changes it now because they become Muslims, so maybe she changes it to Arabic. But whatever contract that they had, whatever was binding upon them before Islam is still binding on them after Islam. So here, he said, he didn't say, okay, all of your marriages are invalid and we got to marry you again. No, he didn't say that. And we're going to see that through the rest of these narrations. So hadith number 1005, عن سالم عن أبيه عن غيلان ابن سلمة أسلم أن غيلان ابن سلمة أسلم وله 10 نسوة فأسلمنا معه فأمره النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يتخير منهن 4. رواه أحمد والترمذي وصححه ابن حبان وحاكم وعله بخاري وأبو زرع وأبو حاتم. Alright, this chain of narration is brought here, the one that says that Bukhari said that it's weak and everything. This is weak. But there's another chain of narration that's outside, you know, that not this one that is authentic. Yashhad lihada, so this hadith is still, is Hasan. All right, Hasan. Huh?
So it's Hassan not da'if.
What?
لهذا التساؤل.
All right, well, we need to wrap this up then because the phone's about to die.
So Hassan not da'if, right?
Yeah, no, it's not like, because there's another chain of narration that is authentic. All right, so the story is authentic. So he said that a man, he had 10 wives, and he became Muslim, and they became Muslim with him. Jahiliyyah, he had 10 wives. All right, فَأَمَرَهُ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and so the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم commanded him to choose from them 4 and divorce the rest. Now, of course, the ulama, they say they have different statements about, okay, so who does he choose? So he probably should choose the one that he married first, the first 4 that he married and divorce the other 6. Other people say, no, it's other conditions. But in reality, all of this is weak and there's nothing to support it. He chooses whichever 4 women that he wants. So if he was like, let's say, and this could happen in America, and the what? What if the person is what? How could this happen in America? This hadith. There's one place, the Mormons, because in Utah it's permissible now, it's lawful now to marry more than one wife in Utah. They passed a law for this. So we all need to move to Utah. We are in the wrong place, actually. We're in a place where they barely let you have one. Yeah, we need to go to Utah and live with the Mormons because the Mormons let you legally have more than one wife. So let's say that a Mormon has 8, 9 wives or 6 wives. And he becomes Muslim and they become Muslim with him. So now what does he do? He divorces 2. Whichever one he's like, okay, I can't let this one go. I'm not going to let this one go. Definitely not going to let her go because she cooks the best and she cleans the best. Y'all 2 get out of here. You know, y'all go. And he divorces the 2 that he doesn't have a need for. And that's it. Khalas. You know, and it's over. He doesn't get nothing back. They don't get nothing. They got their mahar and the marriage is done. It's over. All right.
You let them like fight it out. The top 4.
A UFC type thing, you know, like throw them all in a ring and.
Still okay.
Well, see, the thing is I would keep the 4 that got beat up because the ones that beat them up are too manly. Akhi, I don't want them in my house. You know, you're like, all right, the 4 still standing, or the 2 standing, or the 1 standing. You're divorced. Scoop these up and get them in the hospital and clean them up because they're staying with me. You know? But you want to keep the woman that's beating everybody up for, man. That ain't no woman out here. Come on, man.
He likes Red Sonja.
And then we gotta look, man. We need to stop with these '80s references. You know, we had one guy, one of the people that was listening went and did research about Iceberg Slim. Now, you know, we gotta be a better role model for the people, man. Along with time. All right, there's more, like all these hadith are connected, but we have to stop this. We'll continue this tomorrow, inshallah, because the problem is that the phone is about to die, and we're going to lose the live stream. So, subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Yes.